Okay. Well, I was out earlier. A song from the past was on in store. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do a reading on it. Everybody wants to rule the world. And a specific line that caught my attention that I want to hone in on is they will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. And he also said, welcome to your life. There's no turning back. I can't remember the rest, but I remember thinking, yeah, there is no turning back. Try as you might, at times, right? But yeah, it's like, welcome, this is it. Make the best of it. That you can't go back, so you're here, you're dropped off now. What are you going to do with this experience is what I was getting from that line. But let's see what Spirit wants us to know. Oh, I'm going to take it, and I didn't even get going yet. Inflated ego. Everybody wants to rule the world. Inflated ego. Okay, I'm not even going to go further. Not with this deck. I'm just going to leave that here for a minute. Okay, just digesting it for a minute. Let me hop around. And then right above this inflated ego, I see a real man, divine masculine, which I think of someone who has a balanced ego, a natural, healthy ego, not out to prove himself or bully anyone or be too demanding, someone that's more protector than taker, giver, provider than user. You know what I mean? So yeah, not someone with an inflated ego. And let's face it, in societies all over the world, men, the masculine energy at this point has the power structure or holds the power. Everybody wants to rule the world with that ego. Sudden wealth. Let's see what we can find in this. Oh, everybody wants money. That's a big part of it. Everybody wants to rule the world because everybody wants, it's a money chasing game. False security lingers in material abundance, masking deeper voids. Constant craving for external validation for the ego dims the value of inner worth. I was just telling somebody today that I noticed in somebody, and not to critique them, but it was like whatever we talked about, it became an issue of like, I'm only having a conversation, and every line, literally every sentence I said, and I didn't know this person we just met, but it was more like they had to best me, and it was weird. And I found myself thinking, like, is it just me? And then it was like the other person that was there was like, no, I did notice that too, but didn't think anything of it. Well, I guess at this stage in the game, I'm seeing something in everything. But I was like, wow, every single thing that and I wasn't, it wasn't even anywhere near argumentative, but what I mean is I wasn't contrasting. I was not opposing in any way. It was just like talking. It was like, oh yeah, and even agreeable, like, yes, I see that, and then I may say something else like, yeah, or I was asked a question, I'm sorry. And then I answer, and no matter what my answer was, it was like, I've got to show you that I know more. And it's like one thing that just impressed me with your knowledge, but it just became a thing of everything you say, I'm going to tell you that I know a better way. So that is an example to me of an inflated ego trying to cover up a void, insecurity inside. And I see that a mile away, You must be humble when you have power. You must be humble because I don't care. It doesn't matter what level or what station someone is in your company, let's just say. You can always learn from them. Younger people, if you're a teacher, you treat them as your equal because they are. Not in a condescending way, but literally they know some things that you don't know. We just fooling ourselves to think that we know everything. I love to learn something new. I love knowing that I don't know more than everybody else. That would be pretty lonely, just to be the only one that knows everything. What else, Spirit? Abandonment. Efforts seem invisible and feels undervalued. Experiences genuine hurt and feels deeply betrayed. So someone in their distorted masculine or inflated ego, and this can definitely be a woman embodying distorted masculine energy. I've worked with enough of them with inflated egos with lots to prove, and meanwhile taking it out on everyone, making everybody's vibration sink to the floor. So yes, not just talking to people embodying the male form, abandonment, covering up, again, a wound. It's like wounded people having power. Everybody wants to rule the world, and for some reason the ones that are the most wounded seem to run. You say, like, if you have a race and there's a finish line, you'll find the one is going so quickly to get to that finish line to be the ruler, the emperor, because they want to change it. They want to use it as an opportunity to be somebody, to strike somebody else down. And it will never be enough. That wound will always still be there. That hole is always going to be there, and it's not going to get filled up, no matter how many people you abuse, bully, try to make feel diminished. You see what I'm saying? And one more. Celebration came out with overload. Process involves too many steps and slows down progress. Delegate responsibilities to avoid burnout. So I'm seeing someone who's at the top, but now they have all these demands and they're so dissatisfied when they should be celebrating, perhaps, maybe celebrating life, living more high vibrational. But it's like you got to the top, you got all this money, you got all this power, and you're still looking like this, unhappy. Maybe you need to reflect. Maybe it's time to take a look at what your actions are, why you wanted to get to the top in the first place. Why isn't it filling you up? Who did you step on to get there? And are you constantly chasing that guilt, that shame of who you become to get there? Let's get an angel message before we close this out. I do know that this new world we're ushering in is all about new leadership and not leading with a wounded ego or a distorted masculine, wounded, soul. It's about whether you're in a male form or a woman's female form, you are governing justly, fairly, with love in your heart, and good intentions. That's the new norm. Okay, angels, thank you. The 2. Ooh, caution and loss, and they both look identical. I see pain in these cards. Caution, you're being asked to reconsider, reflect. Caution allows you to navigate with wisdom and avoid unnecessary risk. Move forward only if your soul feels fully at peace. to move forward as a boss with this power only if you're at peace and can deal peacefully with others, peacefully on behalf of others. Otherwise, you need to step down. Loss, exactly. Though loss may feel like an ending, it is also a transformation that brings wisdom in the midst of sorrow. Even in pain, your soul is expanding and your journey is still unfolding in divine perfection. Hallelujah. Exactly. The divine, even when you lose your business, when you lose your power, because it's becoming that time now where people who are not leading justly are losing their power, and the divine is saying, this is divine perfection. Your soul will expand, you will grow, says the divine, whether you want to or not. It's become a time now where you will. It's not up to you anymore. That's why I said hallelujah. And with that, I will see you in another reading.